Welcome to the Commercial Real Estate Podcast powered by First National. Entering into a realm where you and I are a little bit outside of our comfort zone. Again.
I just said that to the guest a minute ago before I recorded. I was like, if anything, we should
okay, so we're recording here live at the Canadian Department Investment Conference. This is the third of 5 today. This is the fifth of 5, but this is the third one of those 5 where we're in a zone that you and I don't really... And to be fair, usually the apartment conference, we're just nailing it out of the park, right? We're interviewing people that own apartments and operate apartments, and it's just our bread and butter. This is going to be a little bit more uncomfortable for Adam and I, really comfortable for you.
No worry, I'll make you comfortable.
Okay, good.
We'll talk about lending for the back half.
Yeah, there we go. We'll just talk about AI and lending. That one I actually do have some opinions on. I want to thank Kingset Capital for sponsoring the speaker video series that we're here live at. And welcome our guest, Akin Olusuyi, who's the Chief Services Officer at Altrio,
right?
Which has something to do with artificial intelligence.
We're a tech firm.
A tech firm,
right?
Okay.
What's the distinction though? Is that versus what else would you define yourself as?
Okay, we will get into it. Okay. Don't worry. I would break down the difference between AI and technology.
Oh, I'm already lost.
Well, do it. Yeah, go do it. What is it? What's the difference?
Right. First of all, I will try to break it down in the most easy concept. But before we get into that, I would love to know about you guys. What do you do outside of
Oh, just podcasting all day?
Podcasting and underwriting deals and stuff.
Yeah.
What are your hobbies?
I just got back from 10 days hiking out in the BC mountains. It was great.
Okay.
And I realized I'm in a stage in my life now where I need hiking poles. This is
interesting. Interesting. The knees are giving up.
That's what it was.
Absolutely.
It was downhill cooked my knees, and so
right.
Now I'm on poles. What can you do?
I have 3 kids. That's all I've been
3
doing.
kids. Amazing. I am a new father.
Oh yeah, okay,
3 weeks. Is 3 weeks old?
3 weeks.
Right.
Oh, you're in the thick of it.
So being here is like almost a vacation. Then.
Yeah. Nice.
Apologies if I'm low energy, but
tired, eh?
no sleep. Right.
Yeah,
I was putting him to bed to 3 a.m. yesterday, and I had to be here. So
okay.
Right, but it is good.
Cherish it. It goes fast. You'll miss it. Surprisingly, you will miss it.
Yeah.
Amazing. Right.
So your day job is this. What do you do for your day job?
For my day job, Ultra is a tech firm. My day job is pretty busy. But before getting into tech space, I was on the capital market side of things, underwriting deals, predominantly in western part of Canada, Calgary. Mainly retail spaces with a bit of residential mixed use for a private boutique firm here out of Toronto. Directly involved in about $500 million in transaction and portfolio. And 4.5 years ago, and then switched to go, join the 2 main founders of Altrio, to basically solve a critical need in the market, right, around deal making.
Well, maybe jump into that. I read the platform description in brief. Sounds super fascinating, and then you kind of throw in like plus AI, we don't. Your brain goes, this would be incredible.
I know. We don't. To be honest, I think I might shock you with a bit of our findings or how we spent some time thinking about it as a tech firm, right? There was the old 18-month craze of AI is going to come, AI will take over your jobs, AI replace analysts in the capital market space, and 18 months down the line, to be honest, the impact is underwhelming, right? Yeah. If anything, it's more like, a lot more skeptics or, people just being skeptical about it because you've not seen any major changes to the capital market space. But that doesn't mean you won't talk about AI in the leasing space, asset management. And on the panel today, I used the phrase and I said, there will come a point in time where we use phrases or words like pre-AI revolution and post-AI revolution, just like we do for pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. It is a fact, right? But in the commercial real estate space itself, in the capital markets, if you look at the context or the nature of the industry itself, it's extremely complex and predominantly deals are done offline. Like deals are done over emails and in-person shaking hands. It compared to like the public markets where, there's a standardization around the stock market to get listed. There's a process you go through. There are certain things to keep getting listed. There are procedures, all standard. Not the same.
Probably 2 guys doing a deal in the bathroom right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. And that's where, the confusion or the misconception of what AI means, what, AI would do in revolutionizing the commercial real estate space. Right. Origin is a platform built by Ultra, by good people of Ultra. I always say only good people build good products, regardless. Your products reflect your personality. So you see me smiling, lots of people in Ultra smiling, but predominantly we're a deal management platform, a data-driven deal management platform built for deal makers. And most importantly, built by real estate experts with decades of expertise, embedded into the design of the platform itself. Our thesis, or the pain points we're trying to solve outside of solving for what piece, of course, deal by deal, asset by asset, is around bringing the real estate market online. And you really think about it, right? Our primary functionality is to provide tools to allow real estate professionals like yourself to win. And if you think about it, whether you're on the debt side or you're on the equity side, how do real estate professionals win? In simple terms, in no way am I saying you don't spend hours, going through your models, trying to find the right, basis points to underwrite a deal at. No, but in simple terms, you win by acquiring the right asset at the right price. And of course, like any other business, doing so as efficiently as possible, process efficiency, whether you're a lender or you're equity investor. That's the base of it. The unique nature of the commercial or real estate space in general is there would always be a finite number of products, assets, the physical buildings, compared to what seems like the ever-growing pool of capital vying against the same assets. So for a fact, the competition is a lot steeper. I think one of the panel this morning, I can't remember who it was exactly, was talking about there's almost no product up for sale in the western part of Canada, right purpose
Mark
built.
Goodman.
Right, Mark Goodman, exactly. Right, and it's the reality. So you have big pension plans, big REITs chasing the same sort of limited asset. Mm-hmm. So the landscape of competition in the real estate industry has significantly shifted, at least from even 5 years ago when I was underwriting deals. And it is quite unique where people are finding the advantage. And let me tell you for a fact, it's not AI in capital market, right? But it's tech. The reality about it is that the real estate industry, despite the lot of transformation by large organizations having innovation teams, now you see titles like Chief Innovation Officer, large research team, real estate industry is still underinvested in real estate. I mean, in technology. It is a fact, right? It is about $400 trillion. I was reading, I can't remember, I think it was a PwC article, global market, $400 trillion. That's 4 times the global GDP. Right, so it is big. And then you look at on all the big real estate investment firms, their investment in technology still way, it's fractional. Mm-hmm. Right, but that is changing. We will get to a point where things are done digitally. But you've got to crawl before you walk, before you run. Right. So our approach, our point of view on this is, your competitive advantage could be broken down into 3 simple things: your speed of execution, the confidence you have in your underwriting, and your ability to execute deal by deal, time over time, your unique approach to investment. First National would have a different approach to KingSett, mortgage side of things. Now, you might be bidding against the same deal or the same asset, but your approach to it is different.
Different goals, different
assumptions. But how do you then, consistently across multiple verticals or across the entire deal team, maintain what makes you unique in how you do it? And that's where tech comes into space, right? And that's our point of our real estate investors work. So if you think about Ultra, right, of course, we only have one product, right, which is our flagship product, called Origin. And when I use the word on our website, you will see the phrase, the world most advanced data-driven deal management platform. We are not saying that because we just, gassing ourselves up and stuff. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? We have 3 of the largest global real estate investors on our platform with over $2 trillion. It is factual. At times I pinch myself thinking about it 4.5 years, and I teamed up with the 2 founders in the very first period, and it's been amazing since then, right? And seeing deals being done on the platform across 5 continents, it's nothing short of amazing. We're growing fast, and the main crux of it is in automation. Now, whether that is AI or not AI, there are different phases to it. The general conception about AI is an application. It is not a software. It's an application that is limited based on the platform it runs on. So the capabilities of the platform has a direct correlation to the efficacy of the AI tool or agent. And if I were to ask you, or actually, let me ask you, what is your biggest challenge when you're trying to underwrite a deal?
The amount of time it takes to find the problem, because deals at the surface kind of all look the same.
Right.
The ones that have
Right.
problems tend to be disguised.
Right.
And you
Right.
have to put the time in, and you do 9 deals in a row, super deep dive,
Right.
nothing to find here. The 10th one, well, that's why you did it.
Right.
That's why you don't do the deal, and you
Right.
save the
Right.
one disaster.
Two things in there, right, which will buttress my point on our approach, which again you categorize into 3 buckets. And when we talk about we are revolutionizing the real estate industry, right, is amount of time it takes to find the problem, meaning you have to scrape through loads and loads of data, right? You're probably calling different people, previous owners, previous landlords, looking at previous leases, previous rent rolls, whatever it is, right? And I am pretty sure that data isn't easily accessible to you. Now, there's a lot of data providers solutions, right? But we would always say the owner or the owners and operators or landlords still have the most accurate, rich number of data. So imagine you have access to that data, which is your proprietary data. Now, the only difference is it's extremely fragmented, unstructured, stored in multiple personal inboxes across multiple drives, multiple folders. There is no way to really harness the power of that data or to use it. Now, automation, which is one of the crux or one of the intentional design of Origin itself, right? Origin would help you turn your proprietary, unaggregated, unstructured data in an unusable format into a structured database. Now, not only structured, because setting solutions will come here and tell you that, yeah, we will organize your data for you, structure it. The difference is, that data is kept up to date in real time with no form of single manual entry to it, right? And of course, there are different ways to do that. That's one part of it. Now, the piggybacking of what you said around maybe the 10th deal, meaning deal volume, right? You probably, if you had the chance to screen 10 times the number of deals, chances are you will find the right ones in that process, right? And that is one of our pillars as well, right? Automate your deal workflow process. There are full parts of your deal process that you could automate with Origin. I'm not going to tell you that, or anyone that tells you that, yeah, you could automate the entire deal transaction after resolution, that's bullshit.
Just take a nap, do a deal.
That is not going to happen, right? Humans would forever be involved, in my opinion, in the real estate capital market space. However, we've seen a lot of our clients automate their entire pre-screening process, right, before a deal gets into their pipeline, right? Because you just set a bunch of criteria based on setting unique approach. You're looking at maybe sector, maybe rentable area, and all of a sudden, as that data is being fed in, again, fully automated, it's going into a database that you could then see what deals am I going to look at this week that has qualified or met my initial screening criteria to then further dive into. Right.
Well, you're talking to not me, the right guy. The right guy is sitting over there, First National. Aaron's been one of the leads in trying to bring our large data set. And to your point, yeah, we have mounds and mounds of data in isolated silos all over the company. And Aaron spent a lot of time the last couple of years working on getting that to be useful data, decision-making data, rather than just, I think that, Sarah, who sits over there, I think she did a deal there last year. Go talk to her.
Yeah. And chances are, data is also time-stamped, right? By the time you go all through that process, and I'm going to ask you, how long did that take you, right?
Yeah, a couple of years.
A couple of years. Now, guess what? It's probably outdated.
Well, no, fortunately, we use a system where it's live feeding all the new data. So every time he touches a deal, that deal goes into our system, and that system is then accessible to the whole organization. But we spent a ton of time figuring out how that works, right?
Right, and that's good, right? Because, that means, First National, you're thinking about, the integrity and keeping that data up to base.
Yeah.
Right, and the interesting part about that a lot of people don't talk about is also the multiple sources that data is coming from, right? You could have data from landlords, you could have data from brokers, you could have data from actual operators, and being able to look at all the data on a flat software connected within your organization, that your asset management team, your leasing team, all use the same base foundation to run your unique approach. You're no longer worried that asset management has a different data source for the same, or data comparables for the same asset compared to the transaction guys, right? So the entire thesis, right, it's baseline on data, but also streamlining and automating your process. One sort of use case that I could bring up, it hasn't been publicized on our website yet. One of our recent client, signed up for Origin, and directly from one of the major deals, it said in 6 months of using Origin, he's been able to increase his deal volume 4 times using the same set of resources, meaning the deal team. Now, if you think about what that means, right? Any entrepreneurial mindset person, you think about that. You've increased your profitability per individual. Now, that shouldn't make you stop investing or go lay off. Like people will say AI is going to change the world, lay off like half of your team. No, what that probably tells you is, okay, expand to different markets. Now, expanding to different markets, like we all know, real estate investors, you're very skeptical before you expand to a different market. I don't know a local broker. I don't know a different thing. With Origin, you could know a lot about the market, your own data. Brokers do send email blast. You're interested in getting into Florida. You know nothing about Florida. Find 10 brokers, sign all the CAs available, build your proprietary database that is searchable that you could use. And before you know it, you've aggregated a lot of market data you could use to make informed data-driven decisions.
I always think back to a conversation I had when I was at Colliers at the time. So I was at the broker side. I was new. So this would have been 2010. And I was talking to a gentleman who'd been in the business for decades and doing land specifically. And he complained, like half jokingly, half serious, that the 70s, 80s, and 90s, land deals were great because usually one party of the transaction was really unsophisticated, had no access, had no ability to structure really lopsided deals. But now with the, with data-driven decision-making, that everybody's pricing has become more perfected. There's less, big fat deals to take down because somebody was clueless.
Absolutely. And
it sounds a little predatory, but I guess that, with the lay of the land
it's business, right? And, when people talk about data as well, in our space, people just think about deal data or transaction data or asset data. There is a lot more to it. When I was underwriting, my biggest, apart from manually scraping through a bunch of unstructured files in PDF, trying to find comps, manually inputting them into an Excel file, my other, challenge was around, on deal A, I had 3 different JV partners, right? On deal B, similar, but I'm not sure what is the appetite or any data around the previous JV partners I used on deal A. With Origin, we just launched a new feature called counterparties, right? You could track any of the counterparty you have on any deal. That is your data that you could then actually use down the line for your capital raising initiative, right? Imagine large organizations that with multiple verticals doing like huge transaction volume. If you're the MD of the entire team, you could sit in Origin, have Origin generate an automated report, and you could look across your entire global portfolio, right? Who is doing what? What is my exposure to a particular JV partner? What is my exposure to a particular lender? What is my exposure to a particular sector? Again, almost seamlessly, right? So for different part of, the capital market process, you do have different sort of use cases in Origin. And it was at the out of the design. It was intentional, great, shout out to the, to the 2 founders, visionaries. Right, I came with a real estate background doing deals, and that was what I brought to the table initially. And I believe I still bring more to the table now that I'm a tech person, right? But reality about it is, what that really, it unlocks a whole world outside of transaction data, outside of like just asset data. So now you mining your business processes data to then fine tune to improve your business processes.
I love it. Even though you're a little disappointed that AI is not going to come for all our jobs and you're at an AI company, because we are buzzword-driven people. How complex is the software that you use to run this?
We're sitting here at the Canadian Department of Investment Conference,
right?
And there are a lot of major operators here that own tens of thousands of units, but there's a lot of people that own 10 buildings. Is this software for them?
Yeah, you see, our software isn't necessarily based on, I would say.
Yeah, because you're talking about global scale.
No. We have our ideal client profile, right, are people doing deal volume, right? If you're not doing deals, you're probably not getting the biggest benefit out of it,
so it's skewed towards constant activity.
Right, it's skewed towards constant activity, right? Whether you're on the lender side, whether you're on the equity side, that is extremely important, right? And, you could have a global enterprise, you could have a small team in a small market, but with tons of volume. I was reading an article the other day, which was an interesting fact, right? Industrial supply coming into America. And I can't remember where I read it from, but it was saying about almost like 4 times the size in the Dallas-Fort Worth area compared to the entire stuff coming into Canada in the next 2.5 years. So imagine you're an investment firm, doing deals in Fort Worth, Dallas, right? And you just capture about 20% of that market. You've probably captured 100% of, deal volume in Canada, right? So our ideal client profile, if you have a deal team, running deal processes, it's amazing. And then if you're an enterprise organization with multiple verticals on the deal side of things, but we also have different sort of licensing permission on our platform, right? We have organizations that use Origin across the entire enterprise on the treasury side, on the leasing side, on the transaction side. And you could then think about how that would be useful on the research side, not just in terms of data play, right? But you were able to have the one true robust platform for your entire deal making process with, and extremely important, a lot of the process is automated for you. One thing that has stood us out in the industry, in this space we play, which is relatively young, especially when it comes to that, but we're just being realistic of what the expectations should be, is the fact that Origin is extremely configurable. Extremely configurable to your individual process. I mean, you need to see, of course, for privacy's sake, you need to see what some of our clients are doing with the platform. It is not complex. It's just extremely configurable. Right.
Well, that was part of the growing pain, is I think when Aaron was doing that at First National was constant iteration, because our process is unique. And even if you went to a lender similar to us down the street, their process would be a little different too.
Right. And we have some pure lenders on the platform, actually. Right. And it's quite interesting. Of course, most of our customer base right now is on the equity side. But while it's a different sort of approach to it, the fundamentals of the basis are the same. Yeah. Right.
Due diligence.
Exactly.
You have to get, it's a checklist. It's really just a really fancy checklist.
Right.
Not to
absolutely.
belittle it, right?
Right. But imagine
there's dynamic and knows the deal and is programmed to pick up, not miss anything.
You are absolutely right. But now imagine you have a team. I'm not sure what your team size is, but you know that there is absolutely no way you can miss a single step in that process of that checklist. The analyst has to do the step before you go to the thing. You could even configure your IC process at times, or your approval process, right? Your fund allocation process, right? Origin it's an amazing ecosystem we're building at Ultra.
We see that quite frequently to our analysts, which is, lending's not hard. There's just 100 different steps, and you can't mess up any of them.
Right.
It's always different. It's always different depending on the deal and the client who they are, right?
Right. Yeah. But within the same bucket and framework. And, our approach also is that, real estate experts is extremely important. We try and we understand, our clients, our customers, pain points. Our entire mission, like I said earlier, is to help real estate professionals win. And that's it, right? So when that is at the art of the design of your platform, right, there's almost no way, you're then, like other solutions you see out there, you're not adding different pieces of the puzzle that really don't fit together. That's exactly what it's about, right? So we've seen people working in one geographical location, one market, getting extreme value out of Origin. And we've seen global teams across 5 continents all using the same platform.
How do you handle, a lot of transactions still in this marketplace occur off market?
Absolutely.
So how do you manage that obstacle?
Right. Our process of data ingestion, or basically building your proprietary database, for you and to use, is not, we don't rely on just broker files, right? Private transactions still requires 2 parties, correct? Not the seller and the buyer. Now, to do due diligence, you get rent rolls, T12s from the seller directly.
Is that just click and drag, drop it off?
Click and drag, or send an email to a configurable inbox, and the extraction is automated. Now, also speaking about AI and 100%, when we really spend time as an organization thinking, where is the best part of our entire platform we can leverage AI? Of course, people will tell you the obvious part is in the data extraction, automating that process, right? It's a manual process where you have to go on a spreadsheet, type in data and stuff, but reality about it is, there are a lot of solutions out there. Even Amazon has, it's about, if you look at the accuracy of it, especially when you're underwriting large, getting a rent figure by 25 cents wrong on a $1 million square foot, it's extremely important to your valuation at the end of the day, right? So we also believe there is a need for human quality control. And that's how it's designed. Built-in fact checking, right? Cool. And that is, that is actually, the first part, I would say, my team on the service, we call it data service, right? Yeah. While there is the automated extraction, right? And there's also the quality human control of it, because it's extremely important. Garbage in, garbage out. Your investment decisions are only as good as the quality of your data.
Well, to your point, that's the real issue. If I'm trying to input rents, industrial builds here, and it's $20 per square foot, I accidentally put 2, well, I recognize it immediately because all my other stuff goes wrong.
All your other stuff will go.
But if you miss 25 cents, that's meaningful.
And the good thing about it is, there's certain things, of course, every real estate underwriter, either investor or acquirer, whether you're on the capital market side or, on the debt side, on the equity side, Excel is the best thing after sliced bread. Right, everyone uses Excel, and you then talk about things like models, right? Where you get challenged is like, when you're underwriting a deal like this, I might go through 5 different models before I actually pick one, to put a bid on and stuff like that. But it also becomes extremely difficult to compare those models side by side. With Origin, number one, while we are onboarding you, your model is fully integrated into Origin, where it's just a drag and drop, and that's full automation. Like you see your data gets populated, but at the same time, there is version controls. You could have 10, 15 models stored against a specific deal, and right there on the platform, you're able to run a comparison analysis. What changed in each model? You don't have to rewrite your data on Excel. And guess what? You own that data, assuming you close on the asset. You manage the asset throughout the lifetime. You also don't have to lose that data of your investment thesis going into that deal. And at this position, that becomes extremely valuable. What rent did I underwrite this deal at? Where is my rent at? How is it trended? We have clients that update their model to the evaluation of their assets every quarter, right? Because cash flow is changing. New tenants are coming in, and you're actually able to track that out.
Well, there's reporting requirements at times. If you're public entities, like the REITs have to do that on a quarterly basis.
Absolutely.
Right? They're inputting new appraisals on a quarterly basis. What about like document generation and that kind of thing? Like, is it all just built in? That must be an easy component for you.
When you say document generation,
well, like I say, I've got a form of lease that I want to use, or I've got a form of purchase and sale agreement, or I've got a form of, NDA or whatever it may be.
Right.
Like those things often are manually input, right?
Absolutely.
That's a huge time waster.
It is time wasting, and we don't. Our data strategy is around extracting data from marketed deal files or asset files, meaning that either from the broker or the private seller. Now, PSAs, LOIs, and building reports, you could get 5, 10 iterations of that. And to be honest, there are better tools that is just developed for capturing that. Now, would there be a point where maybe in Origin you're able to, actually build out a digital OM? Like I said, we're getting there anyways. Brokers don't have to give you a physical. Back in the days, they would give you a physical brochure. Now they email a PDF, unstructured data. You're getting to a point where, within our platform, we have collaboration. Just like the treasury team within an organization collaborating with the transaction team trying to figure something out, right? You could share the deal. We are getting to a point where, closer and closer as we continue to build on our platform, where we're bringing that collaboration across multiple stakeholders in the organization, in the ecosystem. Yeah. Whether you're a lender, whether you're a broker, whether you're an underwriter, you're able to do that. And that becomes, the bread and butter of bringing real estate capital markets online. Right.
What, it's a Sunday, you're just sitting around staring at clouds, daydreaming about, wouldn't it be cool if...
To go hiking.
In the middle of a hike and your mind wanders. What do you daydream about for capabilities that... I don't mean like you don't have it yet. Maybe the industry doesn't have it yet, just not available, but some problem that comes up over and over and over from your clients. They go, boy, I'd love to solve that with this capability that we don't currently have yet. Like 5 years from now, what problems are you solving, do you think? Or 2 years, actually.
Well, use AI, perhaps, right? Because you haven't talked about AI on your platform at all.
Right.
Yet,
no, I would. And, maybe I will come back to that question.
Sure.
Let me break down AI, right? I think I gave a quick description, like AI is technically an application on the platform.
Yeah.
There are two predominant different types of AI, right? The most, I would say, cited potential use of AI in commercial real estate space is put in some bunch of inputs, tell me what the changes in rent would be or what my value of this asset would be, right? You think of that as predictive. And to be fair, predictive analytics existed way before 18 months ago of the revolution of AI. You have quants with PhDs writing statistical model. That's what predictive AI is, right? But the core nature of models like that is you're looking for an output based on a certain finite set of inputs you've put in, trained over large data sets, right? Of course, predictive AI has come leaps and bounds. We actually wrote a paper on this, that was published by our CEO a few weeks ago because we had to let people know. It's on our website, ultra.com. Feel free to go read it. And you then realize that, the mere nature of the commercial real estate space, there is no application it's too complex. Too many multivariate variables coming in. I mean, I would love someone to sit me down and tell me how you model in a city councilor and mayor holding back the development plan on development side because I have a grudge to settle with the developer. I mean, one thing that you could be sure of any predictive model that gives you a specific output, because most of those models will spit out a single value, right? You can't be sure of that. I want to look at what is going to be the value of this building, Metro Toronto Convention Center, 5 years from now at the times point, put in some inputs, $200 million. You could be guaranteed that in reality, one thing that will be sure is reality will be different. The valuation will be different. Real estate investors get value from getting a range of probable outcomes over a probability distribution. In the public markets, in Monte Carlo simulation, you simulate multiple parts, what this could be if I change capital, just like the way you're changing your assumptions. So the tech is just not there to do that for actual capital markets. Again, I'm focusing on capital market, not on the other side of, real estate, like the leasing and stuff. Now, the other type of AI that is commonly known that everyone uses, generative AI, ChatGPT. As the name suggests, generative. Those models are designed to create, not go in-depth analysis to compare multiple ever-changing, data points to spit out, a particular output. And, to buttress my point I mentioned earlier, AI tool now, the recent evolution is AI agents. And the word agent, just like anything, like a broker, right? You're interacting between multiple counterparties. That's agent. And you could then think about in the industry we live in, where we just understand that data is fragmented, sitting in your inbox, sitting in someone's handshake, sitting in someone's physical file, right? What are the agents going to interact with? Right? So the same frustration human agents get at times, I'm calling this broker, I'm trying to really find out what are the comes for this file, I can't find it. It's the same frustration the AI tools will come across, right? So we really don't say AI, right? We are AI enabled. That is the difference.
Yeah.
We are AI enabled, especially when it comes to our data extraction process, because that again is always, it's the low hanging fruit. Our approach to it is just different, which sets us apart from a lot of data providers. And I wouldn't say we're data providers. Yeah, we do have a REST API that our users have access to plug into their dashboard or their BI tool. But, even our competitors in this space, one big thing a lot of people miss is not just about collecting and organizing the data, is how do you keep that data up to date in real time without some tedious process of burning out your analyst on a Friday night while you should be watching Aki to be updating a manual spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where, Origin stands apart, miles apart.
Do you understand, Adam?
I'm getting there.
You getting
there?
Right.
Hours of this and we'll be there.
Now you know more about, AI a bit. Actually, I want to predict. No, go 100%. I really encourage you, go on ultra.com, right? Go to the resource page. I know because we had to write this. Even that management meeting, we're a tech firm. Everyone was talking about AI.
Yeah.
Everyone was talking about, and different spheres of life. No disrespect. There's certain things I've seen in different industries that an AI tool does, and I'm just like, holy. It is mind-blowing. Think of AI advancement in medicine. Think of AI advancement in hospitality, right? You could literally model out a trip and give you all the nice, it is crazy. So we're getting there. But for capital markets, you've got to crawl before you walk, before you run.
Does that mean we're more protected for longer in terms of jobs disappearing?
I think so. I think you might approach close to retirement before then. No, just joking.
Do you think there will be sort of major disruption to the employment market as a result of the AI?
Absolutely.
In real estate specifically?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We actually think AI would lead to a demand and increase for real estate professionals. To be totally candid. Now, in what roles is left for questioning? If you just think about it, do you really need to call listing brokers to find out, so you could do a virtual property tour from your phone, right? You don't need to physically go there. That's some form of technology, right? And there's a lot more AI into that. Now, where it then really depends is let me break it down in the most simple form, right? In the paper that I said is published on our website, our CEO broke it down in the perfect, simplest analogy, right? It's like you think of a restaurant chain with one line cook that could produce about, let's just say 10 burgers per hour, right? Without any form of technology. Now, you as the owner, right, co-owners, right, you then invest in tech, right? And then all of a sudden, the same line cook could produce 20 burgers, right? That means two things, right? You've doubled your output, and you've at the same time increased your profitability per cook. Now, do you need 20 burgers an hour? Probably not in that restaurant. But your profit margins are significantly increased, If you're a good entrepreneur, you know what you would do? Open up a second location, invest in a new line cook, and then buy technology. Open up the third location. Now, if you think about what that means, then you're increasing the overall total number of cooks in your franchise. Now, maybe not at the same location. It's also similar in real estate, right? Would there be a disruption to the roles of jobs in real estate? Absolutely, yes. Would that eliminate jobs in real estate? No. I would just say for any young person and stuff, get specialized. Don't be a generalist. No, for real, right? If you're an underwriting and you're a lender, be the best at your job and find that edge. And the honest truth is that when we talk about competitive edge, everyone talks data, talk this. No, reality about it is that your competitive edge, yeah, while it's right isn't data, there's a big part about it that lots of people don't give themselves credit for. I mean, First National didn't get to where it was by just gimmick. You know what you were doing. There is something about it. Now, the question is, have you systemized that approach? Can you actually say for a fact, every deal team lead, every team member at least follows this set of boxes, of course, without limiting the creative nature of structuring a deal, right? Some of the best deals have been structured in the most creative ways, right? You see deals in the market right now with lots of VTB, vendor take-back mortgages, right? There was a period in retail when I was underwriting retail in Calgary. In 2017, 2016, retail was getting beat up. That was a big thing, vendor take-back mortgages. All of a sudden, died down for a bit. Now it's back in different asset classes. In multifam, like, oh, Lee, right? And, you know, it's what it is. It's technology has always disrupted job function. So it's not a new thing when people say AI. At times, you know, I get a bit pissed off when I just watch on the YouTube clip, oh, AI is going to do this, AI is going to do that. And I'm like, it's such a pessimistic way to look at life in general, right? You should think about it from the perspective of, interesting, how can AI help me do my job better? What sets of skills do I need to get trained or retrain myself, you know, to be in? There is a lot, and there is a unique advantage in the real estate industry as a whole, on the capital market side. And, you know, this would age well, that you would see the leaders 10 years from now will be organizations that put technology first, not as an afterthought. Because if you have that approach and that mindset, which is what we do in Ultra, we're a tech firm after all. It doesn't matter what it's called, AI, I don't know, BI, CI, I don't know, we might get DI, EI, we don't know, right? You know, but it's embracing it and then understanding it, studying it, and never be afraid to actually try it out, right? We do have a saying that, I mean, one of our core values in Ultra is that we would rather be 50% right than sit back and do nothing. Yeah, because if you're 50% right, that's damn good, right? Or you walk through a door and, you know, it's a bad decision, walk right back out as fast as quick as possible and try something else. You've got to be bold enough to suck at something you're doing for the first time. This is my first podcast, by the way, get into it.
You didn't suck, I'll tell you that. You didn't suck at all.
There's the win. And I love guests that come on are willing to make predictions. You're saying in 10 years, the companies are going to be leading the pack, will be the ones that embrace it now.
Absolutely.
Because we ask people for predictions all the time.
Absolutely.
We don't always get straight answers because this is, of course, public record to a certain degree.
I think it will get rougher before it gets better.
Oh, yeah. There's a learning curve. We're still learning.
We are out of time.
No worries.
That was phenomenal. I was a little in my comfort zone. I was having to really focus to,
you did a very good job. You did a really good job.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, right? Are you more intrigued to learn more about the platform than ever?
Yes. Well, I mean, I didn't even know this for lending, to be honest, because I went to your website and saw the companies you're working with.
Right.
Impressive names for sure.
Right.
But I didn't see any lenders that comparable to us, so I didn't even think about that aspect.
Right. Yeah. We just signed up our first lender actually in Europe. You know, lending, and you know, we have another big client out of Europe as well, and you know, of course, like any organization, there's always the point of entry to the market, right? But it's not an afterthought. You know, it's been designed. Our entire thesis is bringing real estate market online, right? And that means so many parties. There's not only equity buyers on this idea. Lenders like yourself that do an amazing job. Most of the capital is in London, so it would be kind of counterintuitive if you really don't focus on the lenders. Absolutely no.
I will.
No, yeah.
After this.
Yeah.
And Aaron's the guy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're out of time.
No worries.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank KingSet for sponsoring the speaker video series here at the CAIC. Thanks First National powering the podcast. Again, Akin, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I really had a good time. Hope to see you guys around.
Perfect.